Well, good morning. Welcome back to the Broadcast Retirement Network. I'm Jeff Snyder. This is BRN AM for Thursday, May 26th, 2022. And our top story today, small businesses and their owners face challenges for supplies, workers, and providing benefits. And joining me now to discuss this and a lot more, Beth Derrickson is the CEO of Cornerstone Cleaning. Beth, great to see you again. Thanks so much for joining us on the program this morning.
Thanks for having me, Jeff. It's great to see you as well.
Yeah, and last time we chatted, it was probably at the height of the pandemic, and you and the team at Cornerstone were incredibly busy doing a lot of deep cleaning. I guess the first question is, how are things going today? People still want to have their residential and commercial properties cleaned?
They do, even more so. We have added clients as well as brought clients that went on hold during the pandemic back into our schedule. And
that's great. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, things are quite busy. It's been great. I think last year was probably the hardest year I've ever worked, just because of the volume and the craziness of everything going on.
How before we kind of talk about small business sentiment and get your feelings as a small business owner, how was it attracting staff? A lot of small businesses and a lot of businesses in general have difficulty, no matter how great an employer they are, have difficulty attracting people. Was that a challenge for you, or is that a challenge for you?
It definitely is a challenge and was a challenge, especially last year. We pretty much had to put all hands on deck and get through our schedule. We kind of put all the office staff, anybody that was doing estimating, anybody that was doing quality control, anyone that was doing scheduling, they pretty much went back out into the field, put their cleaning gear back on and went back out to support the business, which we're very appreciative of. This year has turned a corner where we're starting to see more traction on our postings, and they're more quality type of postings and applicants that are coming in.
Yeah, well, that's good news, and especially when your business is growing. Now I want to ask you a question more about the sentiment of small business. These are tough times for a lot of reasons. They've been tough times for not only because of the pandemic, but we've got rising inflation. I would suspect that you have vehicles or people that have to get to and from work, to and from the job location. So we've got increased prices with gasoline. We've got increased prices of food. What's the business sentiment where you are?
It's the same. Prices are increasing. I think on average, between my colleagues and I, you're probably looking at about a 30% increase in operating costs over the past 2 to 3 years, which is pretty big when you're a small business. We're looking at actually cutting costs that we can, keeping an office now is kind of, do we need to do that? Because everyone's working from home. Cars, we always have to maintain them. We have to, keep them gassed up to do our work. So we're not looking at cutting costs there. In fact, if any employees are driving their own vehicle, we're giving their reimbursement a bump, just because it's so tough right now in terms of gas. And like you said, it kind of trickles down. Food, everything's kind of increasing. So we're in a season of just looking at where we can, with the tightening economy, look at ways that we can cut costs and still thrive and be a place where everyone wants to work and our clients want us to come and clean for them.
Beth, what about you probably do a lot of work with commercial buildings. What about your fellow business owners, whether they're a mid-size, a large size, or even a small size business? In your business, people always need to have things cleaned, and that's important, especially in light of the pandemic and taking care of your property. But what's the sentiment for some of your customers or those in your community?
It really depends on the industry. As an example, you might have real estate, title companies, mortgage companies, and they right now, at least in the past 6 months, have been going gangbusters. So they definitely need someone to come in, lighten their load. They don't have to look at their budgets right now. I mean, they have a budget for us, but they don't have to be tightening the budget for cleaning. So that industry, we're, out there doing what we can to help them out. Other industries that maybe, even that particular industry with things kind of slowing down, you might have to be more mindful of your budget and look at, okay, well, if I'm doing weekly cleanings, can I bump to biweekly? Or if I'm doing, every day, can I go to a 3-day-a-week schedule? It just really, we have so many different clients commercially in terms of what industry they're in. And it really depends on what industry. What we've found successful is, thankfully, we're diverse. Kind of going back to retirement, diversity is key. We're diverse in the commercial clients that we have, and it kind of offsets, when one particular industry is having a tougher time than another. And I'll give you an example of that. We had a natural energy client, and during the pandemic, we're not using as much energy overall, just because people are at home. And so they had to modify their schedule, where with the title companies and the mortgage companies and real estate agents, it was a little bit different, and we just kind of like flip-flopped in a way. So it was pretty interesting to say.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you were not in the throes of it, not on the front lines, it's pretty interesting. Beth, I want to ask you one last question before we transition to a commercial break. We'll pick it up after the commercial break. But you and I know each other from the retirement industry. You grew up in the retirement industry, as did I. It's not easy for small business owners, even before these financial circumstances, to save for retirement.
It's really not, because especially if you're in your infancy, you're taking the money that you're making and putting it back into the business, and even drawing the salary is kind of hard. So you're getting to a point where you're looking at retirement. Once you have the business up and running, you're able to draw consistent salary, and you want to either have like some type of tax deduction or just a way to give back to your employees. So it's really kind of a fine line, because you definitely have to know your numbers and what percentages of your profit and loss, or your profit, I should say, that you're going to then contribute to a retirement.
Thanks, Beth. Really great start to a great topic. We come back, we'll talk more about the balancing act of running a business and offering benefits like retirement. You're going to want to stay tuned right here on BRN AM. Imagine a new television network that will make you richer, healthier, and in control of your financial future. This network is for the policewoman in Nashville, Tennessee, the baker in Dubuque, Iowa, the teacher in Lexington, Kentucky. We want to make the idea of savings and retirement culturally relevant. But what do you see as a defining issue of the midterms, especially for the smaller businesses? I mean, they are the lifeblood of the American economy. Featuring exclusive interviews, current affairs, and docuseries. 33 years old, you retired early.
The philosophy is money only matters if it helps you live a life that you love.
But you got to start thinking about retirement as soon as you get in.
The Broadcast Retirement Network will drive very high engagement with premium partnerships. So this isn't retirement and savings for your parents or grandparents. This is for all Americans. And we're going to change the way you think about money. Welcome to the next frontier of retirement and savings. This is BRN, the Broadcast Retirement Network.
Are you stuck with a low credit score? A credit report and score that's causing you to be denied credit or pay higher interest rates than others for the same things? Then do what Terrence did and call Credit Repaired for your free credit evaluation to help restore your credit.
I started thinking about buying a new house, and my score wasn't where I needed it to be. I called and spoke with one of the representatives, and we just had a good conversation, and I liked what he was saying.
Just one call for his free credit evaluation was all it took to start back on the track to repairing his credit.
I'm seeing the deletions and I'm getting the report, so I know something's being done. It does make a difference to me.
All it takes is one call to get started.
Credit Repair has given me a second chance to have a better credit score.
Don't let a low credit score hold you back another day. Do what Terrence did and make the call for your free credit evaluation.
Call 800-819-4152. That's 800-819-4152. Again, 800-819-4152.
Welcome back. We're talking this morning to Beth Derrickson. She's CEO of Cornerstone Cleaning. Beth, thanks so much for staying with us this morning.
Thank you for having me. It's great to talk to you.
Yeah, it's great. Very enlightening conversation. I think a lot of small business owners and people inside and outside the financial services industry really taking note. You talked about the difficulties in managing a business, investing those profits back into the business, especially if you're building it out, and having the challenge of balancing offering benefits. Let's talk about what offerings are out there for potential businesses like yours. And I know you live in the great state of Maryland. That's where I'm from the great city of Baltimore County. Maryland just created Maryland Saves, which is an auto IRA program similar to what's out in Portland, Oregon, or in Oregon and out in California. But talk about your approach to potentially offering benefits to your employees.
So what we do in terms of retirement is we're actually looking at several different ways to give back to our employees. And I want to say, like, I'm not a CFP, I'm not a CPA, but if you are a small business and you're looking at retirement for your employees, definitely find a reputable, maybe a combination of the two that can work in tandem for you to give you several different options for the retirement and ways to give back to your employees. If you're just the sole proprietor, you have a couple different options, but we wanted to kind of focus on what we give back to our employees. So with that, you can do a number of different plans. There's the simple IRA that can be done. And with the simple IRA, there's a limit. You can't have more than 100 employees. But with the simple IRA, you can match what your employees are getting. And that's always something that I know me as an employee, I would love to have an employer that matches my contributions.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So for us, since we do have employees, that would be our best bet in terms of retirement. But in addition to retirement plans, we have other benefits. And as you can imagine, during the employee shortage that has been happening, we're trying to offer pretty much all that we can in terms of, hooks to get people in, hooks to keep people employed, reimbursing gas, providing training, free training to the employees. And it's just been really hard because other companies are doing the same thing. So as you can imagine, there's larger corporations doing that. So you just have to find the right person and the right fit and really match what they want to do and match your culture with what they want to be in each day and coming to work each day. So those are a little bit about the benefits that we're looking at and we're doing in terms of getting people in and then just retaining them. And that's why it's really important for us to really take this next step into the retirement realm for small businesses.
Yeah, and I mean, as you said, it's a competition, and we used to look in the retirement business when you and I were both in that. We used to say that this is a competitive benefit, and people want access to retirement, especially small business employees. I mean, I think, Beth, they're like 60 or 70 million people in the United States that do not have access to a workplace retirement plan. And under the Secure Act, they created the pooled employer plan. That's another potential option where you get pooled in a retirement plan. You get the benefit of scale. But more and more employees, and I would think, as you're stating, they want health benefits. They want to get money towards gasoline. I mean, this really is similar to the larger corporations that are out there that are offering voluntary and involuntary benefits or supplemental benefits.
It really is. And it's funny that you mentioned medical benefits. Before COVID, medical benefits for small businesses were pretty much nil, or they were very, very light or very expensive in terms of costs for the benefit that you're getting. We, through our industry association, back before COVID, I can't even remember the year because it was several years before, we had started. I know it seems like you lose time.
There's BC before COVID and AC after COVID, right? I mean, those are forget Anno Domini and anyway, I'm sorry, I digress.
Totally get it. But we had a virtual medicine program before COVID, and it was totally paid for by Cornerstone, and we couldn't get people to use it. We were like, this is totally paid for. You can use it, just, make an appointment. It's all online. And it was funny because our provider, they said before COVID, of course, it was very hard to get people to participate. And then once COVID hit, it was like the doors of heaven opened up for them, because they were like, this was, oh my gosh, eye-opening to so many people, and we were already in it. So that was kind of cool. But if you have a virtual medicine program and it's something that you can offer to people, it's really cost effective for the employer as well as the employee. I mean, basically for us, we're paying for it, but the employee doesn't have to input any dollars.
And the great thing about that, just to kind of close out the segment, is that the much of the shift in the healthcare industry is to wellness and preventative medicine. And I don't know if the COVID event, we'll call it the pandemic, really gave everybody a sense of mortality, right? We all know that we're mortal. At some point, we're going to pass on. It's important to take care of yourself. But that actually, by taking care of yourself and participating in a telehealth or some type of healthcare plan, you actually become very productive, right? Because you're taking care of you're not out for days on end because you're sick. You have potentially a more productive workforce.
You do. And it's interesting because the demographic of the employees, if you have folks that are just coming out of school, they're more prone to go online and do everything electronically versus making an appointment and going to a brick and mortar. So it just fits them better. And if you're trying to attract that type of employee right out of school, it's just another thing that makes the benefit even sweeter to them, because they don't have to worry about, oh, do I have to go meet someone, or do I have to drive to this building? Do I have to be in a waiting room with people? They seem like they thrive more on electronic interaction.
And you don't have to actually go to the office and leave work and use, like, you could take break, I guess, and go see a doctor and get a prescription if it's minor. If it's something major, obviously you're going to have to, if you break a leg, you can't fix that through telehealth. At least I don't think you could do your own splint. Beth, we're going to have to leave it there. Really interesting conversation. Congratulations on all your success. Thanks for stopping by, and we look forward to having you back on the program again very soon.
Okay, Jeff, thanks for having me. It's great talking and seeing you.
That wraps up this episode of BRN AM. Have a topic of interest, someone you think we should talk to, drop us a line. And don't forget, for all the latest curated news and lifestyle, wellness, finance, tech, so much more, all in one place, check out today's edition of our daily newsletter, The Morning Pulse. Want to search our archives, check out our latest content? Well, visit our website and our streaming partners. We're back again tomorrow for another edition of BRN AM. Until then, I'm Jeff Snyder. Stay safe, keep on saving, and don't forget, roll with the changes.
Waiting here for you.
Now is your opportunity to co-create content around any topic on the First Lifestyle and Wellness Network. Reach a global audience through our platform and co-own exclusive branded content. All of our programs are available on demand and also as audio-only podcasts, so you can take us on the go. Broadcast Retirement Network, available anytime, anywhere, and on any device.
Are you being audited and do you owe the IRS $10,000 or more in back taxes? Is the IRS threatening to take more of your money? Don't fight the IRS alone. The Tax Doctor is here to help you negotiate your tax bill and reduce your stress. The IRS can freeze your assets and seize your bank accounts, but you can stop these IRS actions. The Tax Doctor will work with you using our years of experience to represent your case to help you get the best resolution under the IRS guidelines. Help is here to deal with the IRS to reduce your stress. We've handled thousands of cases, so we know what we're doing. If you owe $10,000 or more in back taxes, do not call the IRS alone. Call a Tax Doctor now for a tax emergency analysis.
Call 800-224-6439.